This event is sponsored by Miro. Miro is the online whiteboard platform where product teams can work together effectively. If you don't know where to start, it's packed with over 50 templates for product teams. Whether you need a Kanban, mind map, retrospective, product roadmap, or user story map, we've got you covered. Try it for free.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining. How are you doing today? My topic of today's talk is the traits and lessons of great PMs I have worked with. The aim is to inspire everyone who is striving to be a better PM, which we all usually are, and share what I learned from the best PMs I've worked with. I'll talk about exactly how they make an impact and also share bits of Miro product culture with you and specific product frameworks and templates that we use for launching initiatives. 2 words about me. I joined Miro 2 years ago as a PM on a growth team, and my focus is on self-service business monetization, running business critical experiments, aligning product value with prices, launching new pricing plans, supporting purchasing flow, gated features, and so on. Miro is an online collaborative whiteboarding platform, and we recently passed 5 million user mark and keep growing our user base. As a product-led company, Miro has a freemium business model, and at the growth team, we think about reducing barriers to value, making sure that we have the right metrics as a foundation, and we support users in the customer journey of adopting Miro. So adoption means that they invite their whole team in the product, they expand this team and then upgrade to paid tier and ultimately retain better. Here are some stats on how we are doing. You can see the spike that happened in spring due to shelter in place and rise of remote. And of course, we are absolutely thrilled to be of use to so many teams across the globe. Here's what I'm going to cover. I want to start with core PM responsibilities that everybody expects of us. I'll talk about the 5 traits of the great PMs and how we can develop them. And then I'll also talk about the 5 traps to avoid. Let me start with the core responsibilities. So we as PMs are expected to represent the user and serve as a voice of customer for our teams. Setting up a direct feedback loop with users will help you enormously to build your product judgment, and talking to real customers will add texture to facts. Let me give you several examples of unexpected findings that we had at Miro. So we've seen firsthand how collaboration habits have evolved as companies worldwide have shifted to remote work this spring. For example, the total time spent using our built-in video chat increased by 5,000% in May compared to February. What we saw in usage and heard in interviews made us realize that our user persona has changed, and we now have lots of late adopters in the product. These are people who have never used an online whiteboarding tool before, thus they require more education materials, webinars, assistance with choosing the plan, and we even saw new personas emerge. Here you can see the difference between early and late majority that we spotted, and having seen that, we have implemented weekly webinars, and we have seen that these newbies that visited webinars, their conversion to paid is 3 times higher than for those who didn't attend these webinars. Another unexpected insight was to find out that our users are not aware that they can actually use Miro completely free forever with unlimited number of users. And even when they are on the free plan, they kind of think that there must be a hard stop somewhere. So something that we took into work to communicate better. Number 2 is championing a business case. When we see the lever or a gap in product that needs to be addressed, it can be addressed by either an improvement or a new feature or a new pricing plan or a new product altogether. We need to make sure that this initiative is aligned with the company business goals. And then we need to make ourselves heard, and then we need to make it happen. So everyone cares about what it does for business. So change your conversations from outputs to outcomes. The best PMs I've met measure the impact of their product work on the outcomes for the customer and business. Number 3 is buy-in from team and stakeholders. It's expected of us to make sure everyone's opinion is heard. And as teams grow, we have to sell our ideas to more and more people. And also we have to set up new processes. For example, at Miro, we have several peer reviews, product reviews, and design reviews from both teams before taking anything into implementation. So the first sticky was about discovery, and now this last one is about delivery. It's expected of a product manager to help projects converge on the deadline, enable the team, eliminate blockers, and connect the dots. One of the first things my former boss, who made me a product manager, had told me was, you gotta constantly deliver value, as you will be judged by your product launches. You know how great it feels to launch something, but obviously it doesn't have any meaning if it's the wrong thing and it was done for the sake of the launch. So the principles mentioned earlier are a great check for, am I shipping the right thing? Now, how are we supposed to meet all of these high expectations? We have about 20 PMs in core team and in growth team, and I have asked them, what is number 1 characteristic, like top of mind, of a stellar PM that they have worked with? Here's what they said to me, so many great characteristics. I mean, here's the identifying problems and solving problems and meticulous execution and sharp mind. But this is a lot, and no wonder we have this feeling sometimes called imposter syndrome, because we do new things all the time. And a great piece of advice from my former colleague was, yeah, you don't know how to do this now, but you will figure it out. And this piece of advice helped me a lot. So during 6 years of being a PM in 2 different companies, I was observing my mentors and peers that, in my opinion, created the most impact on culture, on the team, on growth, and on business. And here's my personal top 5, the 5 lessons and traps that I want to share with you. To be completely honest, I don't think I personally possess them all. And for me, this is definitely a benchmark and a work in progress. So number 1 is the ability to question and challenge everything. The first lesson that I learned as a PM was to question myself and be very clear on why I want to implement this thing and not the other. A good quote that comes to mind here is the one by the first PM lead at Stripe that goes, good PMs usually deal in answers and data, great PMs usually deal in questions and wisdom. So what this means to me personally is, at first, it's going to be you who is being challenged. So especially as a new PM, you will want to just get to shipping, get to the backlog, implement all of these amazing ideas that you have. But you need a person by your side who will ask you this first why. And as you grow your expertise and authority, you will become a person who sticks to the problem side and enables others to find a solution. So our founder, Andre, is a product manager at his core and one of the strongest product people I have met. I have yet to see a person who asks better questions in product reviews. Everything should tie back to the problem that we are trying to solve and to the best customer experience possible. The questions that he asks may be challenging and you may not be ready for them, but then the whole team accepts it as a net positive because it comes with psychological safety and also is a foundation for a healthy feedback loop before you go and start implementing something that's not essential or even contradicts the product vision. And that's one way to make an impact, empower product people to always stay on solving the right problems. In order to identify the right problem, you need the ability to ask the right questions and be persistent in it. And experiments are a great example of each problem having numerous solutions. They show us that our solutions are not always good, or it wasn't a significant enough problem. So at Miro, we are observing customer and we are coming up with hypotheses. It's something that we believe to be true today. Here I'm sharing an experiment template that we fill out every time before launch. And from user, a business problem to solution design to defining next steps, that's how we approach it. Hypotheses explain why the problem is happening. And they can come from data analysis, from user interviews, from market trends, and they always have to cite sources. An example can be, we believe that the user in a sign up wants to fill as little fields as possible to get to the product sooner. because we see in data that users drop off during the registration. And there's also a great article on Patreon HQ by a Patreon PM that I can highly recommend. It's named That's Not a Hypothesis. And the trap here that we all want to avoid is leading with solutions. Just forget about the problem and fall in love with the solution. It's actually a common trap for PMs that are highly aware of the competition. And as you look around and see what your competitors are doing, you have this urge to say, yeah, we need the same feature, but you always have to come back to the problem, and a great PM is able to recognize the problem that's meaningful. Trait number 2 is do the things that matters most. Another quote from 15 years ago: good product managers focus the team on revenue and customers, bad product managers focus the team on how many features Microsoft is building. Now, how do we develop that? Of course, we need to understand our levers in the product. What do you need to address in order to move the needle? To prioritize, we start with the metric that we're trying to impact. Also, all the decisions we make are based on understanding the business value. And then fundamental changes are the most impactful. Everything that has to do with the business model, value metric, and price. So great PMs that I know bring in something disruptive. They can even launch a product that's sort of disrupting the current business model, but also opens up a new revenue stream. Another example is our head of growth at Miro, who changed Miro business model from trials to freemium after experimenting carefully for several months and observing retention and conversion. So being impact focused really helps make an impact. And then for experiments and features, we prioritize on RISE framework. You can use any other similar technique. It's really just a tool, but choose the one with the highest score if it's possible. Now, how do we know what to do in general? At Miro, we have OKRs, objectives and key results framework, helping us to set the high-level priorities. Here you can see the W model that takes objectives from the company level all the way to individual contributor level, and then back for refinement, and it goes like this until we have a list of initiatives for the quarter. So now you see that we started with the user problem and solving the most important one, and now we are aligning what matters for the customer with what matters to the company. So this year, we were in the middle of a quarter when Rise of Remote happened. These OKRs didn't become unimportant, certainly not, but everything was pointing to the fact that we need to refocus. What we have done in March was create a whole new Rise of Remote track. We had a war room tracking the performance, the stability, the loading times, and new cross-functional project teams were put together rapidly to address the pain points of new users. So as a result, here's an example of roadmap, what it looked like. As a result, we have released dozens of improvements and new features in short time to improve the user experience and the performance of application. So when I say stable, I actually mean that we have to be able to support hundreds of users collaborating in real time. That's just a short video, what it looks like when dozens of people are together on the board and they are writing something on the stickies, they can see each other and create this shared atmosphere. Let me continue. The trap to avoid here is just going after shiny projects, shiny, sexy projects that you feel like they are the best to do, but the best PMs that I have met were never avoiding the hardest, most gruesome tasks that were most impactful in the end. Trait number 3 is highly collaborative mindset. So as PMs, we can't really do anything without our teams, right? We are dependent on the team. We are dependent on the stakeholders for the product success. So we will have to earn the trust of the engineers, the designers, and our manager. And we also will have to talk through the why of every problem that we bring to them. The quote that I am using here is from head of learning and development at Slack. she said, consider your brand as a collaborative partner. It really just means your professional reputation, whether people want to work with you. So just like your manager will trust you when they see how you make decisions, the team will trust you when you have a narrative to lean on, starting from the user problem and all the way to the impact you will make. Have 2 or 3 key problems that the team is working on and focus on the narrative solving them. What helps me personally is being data informed and giving the team the commercial and customer contexts to help build the right things. A lesson I got in my previous job was to actually present a business case to the team to make sure that they are bought in and they care. We do that here as well, and we tend to involve designers and engineers in our ideation and decision-making process from the very start. Typically, the most important decisions that a PM makes here are why a team exists, what's our vision, what's the general approach to accomplish it, also known as strategy, what to build now and what not to build, and why is it important. What I'm doing personally is I align my team on the metrics, and I share insights weekly in Slack. As a growth team, we also share knowledge with the whole company. After every experiment or initiative, when it's done, we post on Growth Insights channel, and we share with everybody what we have learned. The trap I want to mention here is not involving the team, also known as engineers just need to code. I believe that at a product-led company, understanding the customer, business value, and metrics is essential for the whole Scrum team. Trait number 4, user empathy. We know that we have to get to the root of the customer problem. And when I asked my peers at Miro about their top of mind number 1 trait of a great PM, 80% of them named empathy and advocacy for the customer. Because at its core, the fundamental responsibility of a PM is not to be the company's leading expert on the product, but to be company's leading expert on the customer. The quote here is from Intercom, former senior product researcher, who said, having a good understanding of a customer and their problems is the responsibility of everyone who's contributing ideas about how a product will work. So how to achieve that? Get in front of customers, join sales calls, customer meetings, run usability sessions, just get involved in customer issues and get a regular cadence going if you haven't done so yet. I have read that Amplitude VP of product spends 20% of time on customer interviews and research. What we use heavily is user interviews. I just reach out to customers that leave interesting feedback or are frustrated with a specific flow and are struggling, and I schedule a call with them. Just send them a Calendly link and say, do you want to tell me more about the use case? I want to hear it. And we have a 20 or 30-minute conversation. And I can't stress enough how helpful this was for me. We also run service and product, and we use Typeform for email service. We add a send feedback button right on the widget on Canvas so that users who use, for example, the Kanban framework can immediately send feedback to the team. And we also use the NPS tool that has an open field and get a ton of feedback from this channel. I can say that it's highly inspiring to be able to go into this channel and see in real time what users have to say, how they share that Miro has improved their lives, how they love the new feature. And of course, we run usability testing. So this approach encourages product teams to think about the value and the usability for the end user. Also, the best insights you will get, they never come from grooming your backlog. Another cool tactic here is drinking your own champagne, also known as dog fooding. Just we prefer bubbles. One example of doing that is our activation team PM. She signed up and went through onboarding in Miro every day for 30 days to make sure that she knows exactly how a new user feels and using this empathy to make their user experience better. And the trap to avoid here is the temptation to build everything that users ask for. It's just as dangerous as lack of empathy and understanding the user problem. And number 5, I simply named it More Than a PM because the greatest PMs are really more than just that. I here have a quote from Bengali Kaba, a former head of growth at Instagram, who quoted his former colleague saying, "Ship is greater than shipmate. To be successful as a product lead, you have to prove you can think about and improve the ship, not just yourself." The greatest PMs have the influence, a helicopter view of the product and the market, can see the whole business context and apply the observations to start a cross-functional initiative that is addressing current gaps. They are great connectors, and obviously I can continue. They are passionate, natural leaders, communicate with confidence and clarity, and get buy-in from the rest of the team. In the end, they think about the success of a company as a whole. But also great PMs seek product-obsessed companies to join, where engineering, design, product management, and data teams operate as equals to create superb products. One approach that helped me personally is, if you feel like you're at the crossroads and not sure whether to stay or to leave your company, ask yourself this: in a year from now, will you be able to grow significantly and learn new skills here? And will you be able to make an impact that we discussed today? Also try to avoid the trap number 5, which is thinking that you're limited by your role. I'm gonna leave you with this, and here's a postcard from a part of our PM team from our weekend in the mountains. I wish you all the best in your endeavors, and also let's connect. Feel free to reach out to me in LinkedIn. Let's share best practices. And last but not least, we are hiring. Check out the career page for opportunities. And thank you very much for your attention.